My name is Jason and this is Just Watches. Today we have the first Laurier on the channel. Now I've briefly handled these watches, but this was my first chance to spend some real time with one, and now I do understand why people love this brand. However, before we get into the review, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. For price and availability, this watch is currently sold out, but will be returning to stock this year. The MSRP of this watch is $499. The case is 36mm in diameter, 44mm lug to lug. It's very thin, it's only 11mm thick, but about 1 to 2 of that is this domed Hesalite crystal. And then the lug width opening is 20mm. Now sized for my 6 3/4 inch wrist, it weighs in at 103 grams. The mid case is brushed on the top and sides with a high polished chamfer down the tops of the mid case that terminates at the squared off, slightly downturned lugs. We do have drilled lugs for easy strap changes. A fixed bezel sits atop the mid case with brushed sides and a high polished top. I like the choice to avoid a full high polished bezel here, make it just a little bit too flashy. Finally, the case is already thin, but the balance between the caseback, mid-case, and bezel is very good, making this watch appear even thinner than it is on wrist. The stock bracelet starts at 20mm and tapers all the way down to 16 before jumping back up to 17 at the clasp. There's a very solid connection between the solid end links and the head of the watch. The articulation of the bracelet across the back of the watch and between the links is fantastic, two aspects that greatly affect the overall comfort of a bracelet. The links are fully brushed on both the top and the side. The clasp is on the smaller side and helps maintain the elegance of the dramatic taper of the bracelet. The double push to point clasp is signed and then is mostly brushed with high polished chamfers. The scissor is fully milled. There are 3 micro positions, and this in combination with these smaller links will make it pretty easy to get a good fit. Finally, sizing this bracelet is accomplished with screw links, which is great. The screw in case back helps provide 100 meters of water resistance, and the back is actually engraved on this one. Now, I bought this one secondhand, so I have no idea what this stands for, but this is a cool service that Laurier provides. You can pay a bit extra to get your case back engraved. Now, this watch is powered by the Miyota 90S5, which I actually do prefer to the NH35 you often find in microbands. This is a 28,800 vibration per hour, hacking, hand-winding movement with a 42-hour power reserve, and a stated accuracy of -10 to +30 seconds a day. This is also the true no-date movement, so you won't have a ghost position on this watch. And then as you can see, it's running about +10 to +11 seconds a day with the dial up, and then between -2 and -3 with the crown up. The 6.5mm screw down crown is nicely knurled and signed with the Laurier logo. I absolutely love oversized crowns like this. It just makes winding and operating the watch such a pleasure. Finally, the unthreading and threading action on the screw down crown is very smooth. Now, the crystal on this watch is a massively domed acrylic one. Now, acrylic is very easy to scratch, but it's also quite easy to take those scratches back out. Laurier even included a tube of polywatch for that purpose. I gave it a try and found it is actually quite easy to do. This is my first longer term experience with an acrylic crystal, and I've decided I do like them. And since these watches are vintage inspired, I think going with the actual acrylic crystal is a fun detail. Now, the dial on this watch is black, but hides a beautiful diamond pattern that will pop in certain lightings. It's really well executed overall. Then at the edge of the dial, there are dashes for the minutes. For the hours, we have loomed indices with Arabic numerals for 3, 6, and 9. Laurier, their logo, and automatic can be found at 12, with Falcon at 6. Being a no-date watch, the balance is great, and I've always found 369 watches both incredibly easy to read as well as visually appealing. The minute hand has plenty of lume, but the hour hand only has a small plot of lume inside the arrow at the end. So in certain lightings, the high polish of the hour hand can get lost against the dial, leaving just that small triangle visible. That's my only complaint with this handset. I'd like to see lume in the rest of the hour hand between the arrow and the hand stack just to improve legibility in certain lighting conditions. The lume on this watch is BGW9, so you get that nice blue glow. The lume is definitely strong, but as this watch is only 36mm, there isn't a ton of surface area on those hands and indices for a lume, which does hold it back a bit. And here is the watch on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. This is probably as small as I'd want to go for my own personal taste, but obviously wear any size that you like and you enjoy on your wrist. And then here it is from the side. You can see it's a thin watch even with that massive acrylic crystal. For pros and cons, starting with the pros. First, I love the entire aesthetic of this watch. From the dial to the Hesalite crystal to the small size, it's really a fantastic package overall. Second, I love how comfortable this watch is on the bracelet. I've heard good things about the Laurier bracelet, and I can confirm I do really like this bracelet. And then third, it's great that they use the no-date Miyota 90 S5. It is a small detail, but using the no-date movement for a no-date watch is the right choice. As for cons, I only have a few. The flat, high-polished hands can get lost against the black dial in certain lighting and angles. It's not really a concern on the minute hand because we have a lot of lume. There's just so small of a lume plot on that hour hand. I'd like to have seen them lume maybe from the tip of the hour hand down to the hand stack so you could see it in those reduced lighting conditions. And then second, the lume is good. I think the application is good, but there's just not a ton of surface area for the lume. And part of that, you're just limited by the size of this watch. As for comparables, for about the same price, you could check out the Smith's Everest. This is another 369 dial and 36mm, but comes on a nice looking Jubilee bracelet. For a bit more, you can check out the Traska Summiteer 36. This uses the same movement, but features a quick adjust style clasp for the bracelet. And then for less, you could check out the Islander makes a 36mm 369 dial watch called the Manhasset. While I haven't reviewed these specific watches, I've had positive experiences with all three of these brands. So there you have it, the Laurier Falcon. Let me know what you think about this watch in the comment section below. As always, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.